So today we'll be here to talk a little bit about tax return. But first, I know most of you already know Information Planet, but I'm an education planner here at IP. And IP is in the market for over 25 years now. We are in 13 different countries. We have more than 50 offices. And here in Australia, we have offices in Sydney, in Manly, in Adelaide, in Melbourne, Brisbane, Gold Coast, and here in Perth, where I am now. So if you need anything, just reach us out. And today we're gonna hear from Bruno. Bruno knows a lot about the tax return process. We're gonna learn a lot from him today. So let's just bear with me because I'm gonna invite him right now and then we're gonna hear from him. Here he is. Hi, Bruno.
Hey, Carol, how are you?
Good, good. I'm good. How are you?
Good, thanks very much.
Good, perfect. So first we wanted you, first to thank you for being here today with us and just introduce yourself to everyone. Tell us a little bit about what you do and about what is this tax return thing.
Okay, all right. So my name is Bruno Monak, as Carol mentioned already. I've been in Australia last 12, 13 years already, and always in the accounting field. I got my background from Brazil. I studied back in Brazil. I continue studying here in Australia. And now for the last 5 years, I started doing it on my own. So I opened up my own business called BM Accounting and Tax Solutions, and we provide the whole range of accounting services, including taxation services as well.
Perfect, cool. So we're gonna start with the basics. So the first question that I have for you, and everyone, I'm gonna make some questions, and in the end, if you have questions as well, then you can ask. So the first thing is, what's TFN? What's the tax file number?
All right, so tax file number is nothing else but just a number that you register within the Australian Taxation Office. All right, that's the body, as well known as ATO. All right, as the government body that regulates the taxation in Australia. So once you come to Australia, you wish to get a job, you want to work, make some money, you need to register that number called tax file number. It's nothing else but just a number that links yourself to the government.
Perfect. And there's another number as well, the ABN. What's that one?
Correct. ABN is similar to TFN, but ABN stands for Australian Business Number. Is for people that want to work by their own. If you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to open your own business, you need to register an ABN. To have an ABN, you need to have a TFN first. So your TFN is linked to your personal details that the government knows from that number who you are. And then if you wish to have your own business, you apply for the Australian business name, stands for as well known as ABN, and then you can open your own business.
And can students apply for the ABN as well?
Yes, everyone that has working rights in Australia can apply for either TFN and ABN, including students.
Oh, perfect. And everyone's talking now about the tax season. So what is it about? When does it start? When do we have to start worrying about it?
Right. You have to worry about tax every day in your life.
Yeah.
But yeah, the tax season, well, the financial year runs through July to June in the following year. So 1st July when the financial year starts and ends in the following 3rd of June, right? So those 12 months is pretty much the financial year you need to report your income, all right?
Perfect. And what are the main documents that I have to do that?
Okay, so what you need to report to ATO is pretty much all your income, all right? Regardless what source you have, if you work as an employee through your TFN, if you work on your own through your ABN, if you open up your business, if you have investments, every source of income needs to be reported to ATO, all right? And you also can claim some expenses, some work-related deductions to reduce your tax. And therefore, if you have any tax withheld with ATO throughout the year, you can get some tax back as well.
Cool. And how is this process? We gather all the documents. What's the steps, step by step, let's say?
All right. When the financial year ends, 3rd of June, you can start lodging your tax return from the 1st of July, right? You have 4 months to do that, to avoid any penalties for late lodgements and interests and all other issues with ATO. So when the year ends at 3rd of June, you got until 31st of October to lodge your tax return, right? That gives you enough time to gather all the information that you need, that I mentioned previously, to lodge your tax return properly. It's very important to report everything and don't miss anything. I'm saying that because I've seen 1,000 times people forget, get 2, 3, 4, 10 jobs sometimes, and sometimes forgets to report some of these jobs. Especially if you're here temporarily, you get like casual jobs. You're gonna work, say, 2, 3 shifts only, and you might forget that you work in that place, and then you don't report to ATO, and later on ATO will chase you to report that income, as well as sometimes they might penalize you. You have to pay some extra fee for not lodging properly. Okay. So you got 4 months after the financial year ends to gather all of your income statements and also all your work-related deductions, if you have any, to claim against your income.
Okay, and the process is the same for the students that just use the ABN?
Yes, the individual tax return is the same, right? You need to report every sort of income if you have. If you work as an employee or as a sole trader, if you have in your ABN and open your own business, or if you have both, you need to report in the same tax return. It's not separately. Okay. You report together. There's a different sections in your tax return you need to report, but you report all at once.
Okay. And usually, how much do students get back from tax deductions, or how can they know how much they're going to get?
Right. It varies. Tax in Australia is according to your income. The more you earn, the more tax you pay. So when you work in as an employee for a company, if they register you as an employee, either casual, part-time, or full-time, they will withhold tax out of your wages. All right? Let's say you worked for 20 hours per week, you should earn $600. They take $100 and they will pay you $500. So you're gonna accrue $100 per week to ATO. If that $100 is enough to cover your tax, right, you're safe. You don't have to pay any more tax. But if it's not enough, you have to pay the difference. If it's more, you're gonna get back. How to calculate it? There's a table, a tax rate table on the ato.gov.au. They can follow how much you're earning annually, and then you can apply the percentage. All right. So, very briefly, idea is the first 18,200 is tax free. So if you earned less than 18,200 and you had any tax withheld with ATO, you're gonna get 100% back. All right. Comes June 30, I got all of that paperwork. I added up all my wages, so I earned 15,000. And I checked that all my employees took $500 in tax. I'm gonna get that 500 back. All right. But if you earned more than 1,800, less than 45,000, let's say you earn 25,000, you're gonna pay 19 cents per dollar after the 18,200. All right. So if you have enough tax withheld from your employer, which employer knows how to withhold your taxes, you'll be safe, and you're gonna claim some deductions to reduce your income, and therefore you're gonna get a little bit tax back. It's not an easy question to answer, or you're gonna get that much back or X amount back, but it works between how much you paid in tax and how much you earned. All right. So the more you earn, more tax you pay. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah,
Yeah.
mate. And
I might show you, should I show you the tax table here? That might help people to understand a little bit more. Right, just get my phone here. The switch camera. Right, so that's the tax table, right, in Australia for their financial year. As I said, first line, you can see it under taxable income. If you earn nothing until 18,200, tax on this income, nil. You don't pay tax. If you had any tax withheld on your TFN, you get tax back. Between 18,201 and 45,000, you start paying tax, right? 19 cents per dollar, which is 19%, and so on. The more you earn, the more tax you pay. 45,220, you pay 32.5, and so on. All right. But important, people knows that that table is for employees, not employees. Sorry, that tables apply for every individual. All right. But you only get tax back if you pay tax to the government. How do you pay tax? To your salary, to your wages. If you are employed, the employer will take tax out of your wages, and you accrue tax withheld with ATO at the end of the year. All right. But if you work on ABN on your own, there's nothing, no one taking tax out of your earnings. All right. Every service you provide, you're going to get paid, and nothing else will be withheld with ATO. So at the end of the year, if you pass the 18,200 on your ABN, you have to pay tax to the government. All right. You follow that same table I showed you just then.
oh yeah, perfect. And after you lodge your tax return application, how long does it take for you to receive any refund that you're entitled to?
All right. The process is normally between 7 to 10 days. If the tax return is lodged properly and correctly, it takes between 7 to 10 days to reach your process. And if they need tax to be refunded, they will pay into your account that you added in your tax return.
Okay.
If there's anything wrong with the bank account details or the ATO can't pay electronic to you, what they do, they send you a check. Firstly, they'll send you a SMS if you register your mobile phone with ATO. They'll send you a text message, give you 3 days to update your bank details. If you don't do that, they'll send you a check via post. So you're going to receive a paper check with the amount you should be entitled to receive, and then you go to the bank and get the money.
Okay. Yeah. Fernando is saying there. So basically, the ones who work on ABN will have to pay something if they've made more than 18K. Is that it?
Yes, correct.
Oh.
Yeah, remember, importantly is people know that their income are added together, either TFN, ABN, or investment. All right, you get TFN, you get 10,000 on TFN, you got 10,000 on ABN, you get $100 of interest out of your bank account, so you're gonna report $20,100 as an income for the year. All right, and therefore your tax will be calculated on that amount.
Yeah, makes sense. And is there any time limit? For example, if I'm working in Australia for less than 6 months, do I need to lodge the tax return as well? Is there any difference?
No, there's no difference. It doesn't. There's no such a time frame limit or exemption. Let's say, if you register a TFN with ATO, you're telling the government that you're gonna work. So on ATO side, you think that you are working. So they will create a tax return under your name. So if you work for a week within the, let's say, last week of June, you have to report 1 week of income. People asking me, oh, what about if I earn less than 18,200, which is the tax-free threshold? Say, it's fine, you're not going to pay tax, right? But you still need to report ATO. ATO still want to know how much you earned for that period. Doesn't matter if it's 1 month or the 12 months mark.
Okay.
Excuse me.
No worries. And can I do this process, the tax return by myself? Or
Yes.
the difference to use like the help of an accountant? How is that different from doing it by myself?
Right. There's three basically ways to lodge your tax return, right? The first one is electronically by yourself. The government creates a platform they calls MyGov. So the MyGov is a platform that every individual can access all the government services, right? You need to register, you need to identify yourself, create your account with MyGov, and in MyGov, you can link the ATO, right? Once you link the ATO to your MyGov account, you can lodge your tax return through that platform, all right? The second option is by paper, and I believe very few people do that, quite old school fashion way, but still people that does that these days. But that's one option, second option, okay? And the third option is look for a professional to lodge for yourself, which is pretty much more reliable way to lodge your tax return, and definitely you get more benefits out of it.
Yeah, it's easier, much easier.
Yeah.
Cool. And someone asked there, sorry, I didn't get the name, but how about scholarships? If I have a scholarship, do I have to put that information? Do I have to include that in my tax return?
Yes, you have to include in tax return. There's some exemptions for scholarships, but you still need to report it on your tax. There's a specific area to report your scholarship income.
But you're not paying tax over it. You're just declaring that you got that.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Okay, cool. Okay, anyone else has any other questions? I think my questions are over.
Yeah, in the meantime, I might wrap it up quickly. Just a quick summary to people that joined throughout the live. So financial year runs from July to June in Australia, right, for those 12 months. And you can start lodging your tax return from 1st of July onwards, right? The due date is 31st of October. So you get 4 months to lodge your tax return. All right, there's more than enough time to lodge your to gather your paperwork and lodge your tax return. Oops, sorry. Very important not to forget to report, especially any income. Okay, if you forget to report any income, ATO might audit your tax return that you lodged incorrectly, and you have to correct later on. That might cost you some extra money or timing, or even they can might penalize you for not doing that properly. All right. Normally they don't do in the first time. All right. They just give you a warning that you didn't report properly. But if you do the second and third time, they might incur your penalty. All right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And on either TFN or ABN income, you can claim some deductions to reduce your income. The more you reduce your income, more tax you're gonna get back on your TFN income, or less tax you're gonna pay through your ABN income.
Okay. Yeah. Good to know.
It's good to mention as well that people ask me all the time the biggest difference between TFN and ABN.
Mm-hmm.
So TFN is pretty much when you work with a company, then as an employee. People, your employer gives you a proper timesheet, a proper days, a schedule to work. All right, you are an employee. They will pay you a wage and withheld tax. Okay. On ABN, there's no employer involved. It's just yourself working, and you get paid by the services you provide, and no tax is withheld at any time. All right. Another benefit of another difference, should I say, between TFN and ABN is that when you work as an employee using a TFN for a company, they have to pay you a superannuation. All right. A superannuation is a retirement plan in Australia. So it's quite common that people don't know much about it, what it is, what it's used for, and all that. But it's very important. Is every employee has the right to be paid into a superannuation, and is liable to the employer pay you into your super fund. All right. The superannuation is fixed at 9.5 cents last financial year, or I mean the current financial year. From 1st of July, they will change to 10% fixed rate. So if you want $1,000 that week, they have to pay $100 into a super fund account. And it's very important to follow those payments, because unfortunately I've seen a lot of employers that don't pay superannuation properly. And once you leave the job and you check your account, you're going to see if they paid, and then they didn't pay properly. You have to chase your employer, ask for payments. It becomes a big drama. And some of them as well don't pay at all. So it's very important to check your superannuation account every now and then. I would say at least every month, to make sure that your employer is paying what they should have paid to you. And another thing about superannuation as well is that if you are a student, for example, stay in Australia for 2 years and you accrue a bit of superannuation and you decide to go back to your home country and not to come back to Australia anytime soon, you can withdraw those funds. You can access those funds. There's quite a rule behind, but government will deduct some tax out of it, but you're still able to access those funds.
And you do that when you're still here in Australia or back in your home country?
No, when you leave, one of the conditions to apply for the superannuation withdrawal is that you can't have any visa in Australia. So your visa will be expired and you won't be in Australia. So therefore you can apply from outside.
Yeah. And another doubt about the superannuation: when you work for multiple employers, do you have different superannuation accounts? Does it all go to the same place? How does it work?
Right. So that's a good important question, Carol. You should avoid open more than one superannuation accounts. Sometimes each employee open a different one for you. Right? If you find out that you have 3 or 4 more superannuation accounts, you can combine them all together. All right. Just choose one that you like it, or search online which one is the best. Contact that fund and tell them that you got multiple superannuation accounts and you want to merge them together, and they do that for free. All right. But if you got one job and they open up one superannuation account for you, try to use that superannuation account for the other jobs as well. All right.
Okay.
If you don't know what it is, if the employer open account or not, just ask them. Ask them, have you opened my bank account, my superannuation account? Have you paid my superannuation fund, blah, blah, blah. And they must provide the details to you.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's a really good question to do for your employer, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. So, well, I think that's it. I'm checking if there's any other last questions. Not sure. So, well, thank you very much, Bruno. That was amazing. I think it was really good. And for who is not here, just to let you know, we're recording the session, so we're gonna have that on our Information Planet profile. And later on, just stay tuned. We are gonna have live sessions in Portuguese and Spanish as well about this subject and about other things. So just keep following us if you want to listen to that information in Portuguese and in Spanish as well. That's it, guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Carol. I appreciate the opportunity. It's always good to let the people know what a bit of tax in Australia. Tax is quite complex, to be honest, but I believe that what we talked about give the people an idea what to do, how to do, what can be done, what is income, what should I apply, when, and all that. So I appreciate the time, and I hope to talk to you soon.
Yeah, and if you need, guys, to talk to Bruno, you can follow the profile, but you can also ask us. We have his contacts, and then he may be able to help you with your tax return. Okay, so I'm ending the live session. Thank you very much. Bye-bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.